right, here we go. Another episode of Canada on the Rocks. I am your host, pt2, local realtor with Sun Group Ottawa. And today we are joined with one of my favorite people, Mr. Handsome himself. John, how are you, buddy?
I'm fantastic.
John is from INTEGA IT. So what are some of the most interesting stories that you guys had over the last, let's say, 5 years?
I had IT is a funny space because I mentioned the trunk slammers. A lot of these guys are owner-operators, and it becomes almost personal when the client decides to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had companies be held ransom. Hey, do you want all your passwords? Then pay this amount of money. Hey, you mishandled files. I'm going to report you. Don't pay me this amount of money. And it's a little bit hostile. We're a friendly competitor. I'll talk to anybody. What? At the end of the day, if you lose a customer, I didn't go after that customer. Your customer called me. It's on you. So if your customer is shopping IT, then you're doing something wrong. Don't get mad at me. Hey, it's the same with staff, right? You lose a staff.
It's the same in a relationship too. Like at the end of the day, if that person is going out of that relationship, there's obviously something in the relationship that's not working.
Absolutely. Expectations were misaligned.
100%.
People are feeling like they're being held.
Expectations can only be met if both parties fully understand it.
Yeah. So I had a little law firm come to me and they're like, hey, I'm partnering up in this law firm. The owner of the law firm, her daughter is doing IT. And she goes, I don't really want her doing IT. I think I'd be more comfortable if it was more of a third party rather than, the person's daughter of the
Fair enough,
client.
yeah.
So I said, okay. So she goes, well, I want to tell her, but I'm worried about the reaction. I said, okay. So we use the backup appliance that you know about, Dado. And I said, look, and this wasn't a customer. I said, look, I got a Dado in my office. A Dado is basically, it's an appliance. It's beside the server and takes a picture of it. So it's fully replicated in the server. We'll put it in just, for fun and we'll see what happens. Let her know it. It gives you peace of mind that, if something happens, you're backed up. So she, we put the Dado in. She had the conversation with the daughter. Everything was okay. She's like, it was okay. Everything was fine. Friday comes, we go for the weekend. She comes up on Monday. The daughter broke into the business, stole the server. Server's gone. She comes in, she's like, server's gone. Okay, no worries. Like, we can run the whole server off the Dado. Is the Dado there? Yeah, okay, perfect. They're up by lunch, back up and operating. And then, that bought us some time to buy them a new server. But it's just, if you go on a hunch and you take a risk, sometimes you're doing that and, you're earning people's trust.
That's a funny one for sure. And how did that go at the Sunday dinner?
Yeah.
I wonder with the other partner. Hey, by the way, your daughter just stole the server.
Well, the whole relationship went rocky and they were buying the business and, they were going to go into the business with this person. And then, that just sort of set the path into motion that, okay, they'll buy the business, but that person will not be working in the business because of the hostility. It's just hard. Like IT, I find, I have maybe 4 or 5 main competitors in the city, maybe less. Because, they're like a mature company. I would consider them, a competitor because, we're similar stacks. We have similar size and maturity. We take it on the similar size the companies. But the smaller ones are the threat.
They are the threat because, to me, it's like those little fishies that are swimming upstream.
Yeah.
And feisty.
Yeah.
They're trying to get there.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. They'll get there at some point.
Yeah.
But how can you do it in a nice sort of easygoing manner? That's what we're missing.
But this is the owner-operator. You got a guy who's, and it happens in every vertical. Mm-hmm. Dentists are the prime example of that, where you got an owner-operator. They are the juice of the company. They are the ones making money. And then you're also getting them to put on a business hat. So now you lose that diplomacy in the customer service. Oh, you're leaving me? Okay, well, I did all this work. It's personal. I did all this work, and now you're firing me. Okay, well, now you're going to pay.
I'm not giving you a file.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Every time we go to discovery, it's like, okay, can we get on the server? Well, we don't want to tip off our IT guy. Why? It's business. It's not personal.
It's totally business. And that's the other thing, too. It's like it's same as a relationship. If your partner feels that there's a threat,
yeah,
well, it's because maybe they caused that threat.
Yeah.
They weren't bringing their best foot forward in that relationship.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong to say that, hey, this is going to get dissolved at some point. We're not working out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're not on the same page. That's my favorite line, by the way.
We're not on the same, well, of course we're on the same page. And then you get people like, we want to change, but For us, it's like fear of the unknown. Oh my God, it's going to be crazy. Or I have to learn something new. You're going to have to learn an environment. You have to learn everything we do. I'm like, okay, but that's what we do. It's okay. We got it.
And that's probably one of the biggest hurdles we had in IT is that change.
Yeah.
Change is like the middle name of IT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you cannot run IT properly without learning how to cope with change. Not only that, but also adapt and be the one bringing the change.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of times you have to be.
Yeah.
If you're not, then the chances are you're the actually vibe in there.
Actually, that brings up another good point. You know, you're changing. You're like, hey guys, we're going to go from a server to the cloud. Okay, but how are we going to learn how to do that? Well, okay, so why don't we plan the migration from the server to the cloud, and then we'll educate your staff before we flip the switch. Mm-hmm. So now they know what they're coming into. And, you know, we can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, my Biden was here. I did this, I this way. Well, okay, well, it's short-term pain, long-term gain, guys. Now, you know, we de-risk the operation. We're saving costs because we're not buying a server. We're not buying for backup. You know, like change is good, especially in IT. Usually it's for the better. It's just people get habits.
So for folks that are watching, again, it's just a little tidbit. I mean, a lot of people are out in IT. They understand a little bit of IT, maybe not. What's the difference between cloud? And again, we talked about sort of like it's been somewhere, but like the easiest terms that people can understand as far as the on and off.
The on and off.
Meaning like if something goes wrong with my laptop, how can I operate if I'm on the cloud?
It'd be more like if something goes wrong with my server, the server is like, it would be a single point of failure. The power goes off, the server goes down. The internet goes out, the server goes down. When you're in the cloud, it's centralized. So, you know, internet goes down in your office. Okay, we'll go to Starbucks. Maybe not the best idea, maybe not the most secure idea, but hey, there are other ways to access your data. Whereas when it's all in one spot, you know, it's down, it's down.
One point of failure, you're down. You're choking.
You're choking. And, you know, like and you can do the argument, okay, but if I'm in the cloud, you know, I'm paying perpetually to rent space. Yes, you are. But either way, if you bought your hardware, you know, you're gonna OpEx the cost, that capital cost over 3-4 years. You still got to rebuy the hardware.
That server is not going to be fresh for 10 years.
No.
3 is maybe pushing it. 2.5 to 3 is
3 to 5, and then
on the server.
And then we're sitting here saying, okay, well, if you capitalize the cost, it's this much. If you OpEx the cost over monthly, it's this much. Okay, we can do a 3-year comparison. Typically, the cloud is cheaper.
Much cheaper. Not only that, but also
more efficient.
More efficient. It's giving you those multiple point of failures. It's a little bit easier to handle.
Yeah.
It's really the way I look at it is like, I know, for example, if my MacBook gets stolen, or my phone gets dead, I can literally go to the Apple Store, pick up a new one.
Back in business.
I'm back. I might lose maybe a day of backup.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's the only.
It'll be the culture shock, though. The phone's your appendage. Now you're like, oh my God, I lost my arm.
Yeah.
For a day.
But it's for a day. And then I'm back up in business and like, whatever. Okay, maybe I'll lose whatever photos, whatever information that I put in since it backed up.
Yeah.
But if you set it up properly.
Yeah. And for you, the phone is your business.
100%.
That phone represents money when it rings.
Exactly. So imagine if that phone, just like that server, gets stolen, taken out, and it just gets completely taken out of the business, then you're off.
Yeah.
Can you afford being off for a day? Can you afford being off for, goes back to that same question.
How do you quantify an acceptable amount of downtime? You know, like if you're a construction company, you could probably go a week or two.
So
we're building.
100%. And that's the thing. Like, can you quantify it, first of all? And a lot of the times they can't.
They cannot. And they don't realize all the costs.
They can't. And like, you just start to kind of put it in terms they understand.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the light bulb goes off. Holy. Yeah, he's...
Yeah.
Like
we'll do what's called a scream test. I'll pull it out and you let me know. You let me know when it's time to scream. Yeah, okay, we're stuck. Okay.
Exactly. So let's go back a little bit. I just want to talk about the ideal client for you guys. What does that look like?
Ideal client would be an operational mature client. So someone who's been in business and they understand the value of IT. A lot of people don't understand the value. It's like, and this is a constant battle. IT is an expense. Is it an expense? So I'll go back to what I said earlier. Is it an expense when I say we're offline for the day? What is that? How much money are we making? When you start putting it into that perspective, you're like, yeah, you know what? You're right. It's a cost of doing. We're a cost of doing business.
Yeah.
Like we're doing the security, we're doing the proactive support, we're doing the proactive patches, we're keeping everybody, as you mentioned, we're trying to keep uptime to a maximum. Obviously, there's some variables there, like you got internet, it goes down. How do we navigate those? Okay, internet goes down, we have a backup internet.
Yeah.
You know, like just de-risk the whole situation.
And that's the thing, like the biggest thing, like you said, is when they're mature when it comes to operations, they can somewhat quantify what it's like for them to be down for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Or 8 hours.
Yeah.
If my business is making, as an example, $100,000 a month, and now it's all of a sudden it's down for 8 hours, that's a big number.
It's a big number.
So,
and then you're paying people to maybe sit around.
Not all exactly, because you can't send them home. They might be back up in 2 hours and back up in 8.
Yeah.
But the other thing that comes to that is, so basically it's a cost both ways. One, you're not making money. Two, you're costing yourself money by those people sitting there.
Yeah.
And then three, you're paying John and his staff to bring you back up.
Yeah.
But if you had paid John on a regular monthly basis, you're not having to worry about that.
Absolutely.
It's really, your value is to keep me up.
Absolutely.
Not to help me when I'm down.
Keep you up and secure. Now it's the security.
Exactly.
Keep me up and give me peace of mind that when I go to sleep at night and I come into work, my data is going to be safe and protected and usable.
You know, the funny thing about this is I can talk about it for hours with you, because this used to be my life for like 7 years. So with that being said, I just want to dig into the MSSP space a little bit more. What do you guys bring to the table? What does that look like for the business? Why is it important? What differentiates you?
So the MSSP space,
mouthful,
is a mouthful, is more security focused. So, originally when I was starting to make the transition, we said, okay, let's take a holistic approach to IT, to security. So we have our MDR, cybersecurity solution. We have the cyber training, as I mentioned. We do what's called MFA, so multi-factor authentication on all the devices, which is big because, now it's like, hey, it's easy to spoof something, you can get in.
Yeah.
I know it's annoying and everyone doesn't like it because it's one extra step, but at the end of the day, that one extra step is saving you a lot of time and money. And peace of mind.
It makes total sense. Like I'd be sitting, for example, in a conference and all of a sudden I'm like, my phone is buzzing there's someone logging my email. I'm sitting here, I didn't log in my email.
Yeah.
I know it's not me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And now you need to authenticate. That's better as well. The other thing we're doing is the email filtering and scanning. And then the big one now, and it's popular, is password vaults. Because people are very notorious for having the same
We leave it up to
password.
Google.
Well, we have the same password,
or the iPhone.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Agent Fatty 2024. Okay, it's New Year's. Agent Fatty 2025.
Yeah. And then you forget because you maybe had an assistant, you've given the assistant the code or something, borrows it, not knowing that you have like 6 or 7 or maybe 10 other systems that are operating on that same password. You're like, I didn't want her to see that email.
Yeah, so the password manager allows you to have that one password to get into the vault. And then, you put in all your websites and all the places that you go to. It puts an authentic password that will, you look at the password they provide and your eyes glaze over. You're like, I don't ever want to have to remember that.
No, and then
I will die.
The thing about it is
that password.
The one thing that I love about that one password is it just uses so many different levels of security on the password.
Yeah.
That again, you don't have to remember it. You only have to remember your one password.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Which is how to get into one password.
Yes.
And that has multi-factor authentication.
Yeah.
That's secure.
Yeah, that's secure.
And then that's a vault of so many other passwords that are completely random.
They are completely random. They're long. They're upper, lower characters.
And they change regularly.
They change regularly. And then it is annoying. Like, people don't realize short-term pain, long-term gain. It is annoying to set up. But once you're done, you're done.
That's it.
And you move on through life and, you don't worry about it.
But it's normally the same as if you log in out of Google Chrome. Which most
For the password manager, it's just the initial training, you got to go. It's like getting a new phone. You got to go in, you got to set it up, you got to put in all your accounts, you got to put in your passwords the first time, but then it's done. And now we're not worrying about New Year's Eve updating to John Robinson 2025, 2026, 2027.
Mr. Robinson and his wisdom. We could talk about this for probably another 10, 15 hours. We probably won't be done because that used to be sort of my daily life for 7 or so years. With that, John, I wanted to thank you so much for being here, on the show. And if you'd have to leave somebody that are watching, thinking of IT, thinking of sort of, how can I get into this to protect my business?
Yeah.
What are some of those words of wisdom, if you don't mind?
I mean, you got to look at it. Don't ignore it. You got to basically evaluate a company. This is someone you want to partner with. It's not a vendor, it's a partner. You want to be sure they're comfortable with their setup. Go into their office. Go in to see how they value your business. Are they just sending you a quote over the phone rudimentally? They're probably not going to be as heavily invested in your in your protecting, servicing you.
Yeah. And what are some of the different areas of sort of evaluations you should look at from an IT service provider perspective?
Any evaluation is funny. I end up competing with people who just send rudiment, just quoting. Okay, well, do you go to your doctor and you call them up and you're like, hey, I got this ailment, and they prescribe you something and then you're good? Or do you have to go into the doctor, do some tests, have a little discovery of what's going on, and then make a recommendation or get a prescription? It's the same with IT. We want to look under the hood. We want to see where you're at. I can't just send you a quote and then I'm stuck with the mess that you had because, you had Bill doing Band-Aid on a Band-Aid on a Band-Aid, and they didn't hit your expectations. So you went through different IT providers and it wasn't working out.
Yeah. How many times do you go into a sort of a new business and all you see is sort of like, I'm gonna describe them as scotch tape and bubble gum, keeping IT together.
It's not so common now, but you see it. And then you're like, you know what? If it's at this State of the Union when you're coming in, maybe the previous IT company wasn't the problem and it was, the purse strings of the owner.
Correct.
And then you're realizing you're going into it.
Again, we can talk for probably hours and hours and hours. And the chances are I know about maybe another 10 people that we can bring in the conversation and continue talking. Really appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for sharing your wisdom with the folks out there. And for everybody that's watching, if you like what you see, please don't forget to like this handsome devil.
And subscribe.
And subscribe for sure, because you know what? There's so many businesses out there that could use a voice and could use being on the show. And not only that, but also to bring you guys what they're all about and to showcase this massive city that we have with all of those amazing businesses. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you again for watching. And John, thank you again for being here.
Appreciate you having me here. Thank you very much.
Perfect.